Hello, I'm AZ Sniper Fox, and here I am at my poolside. It was a location suggested to me by a friend, and I wanted to just give it a shot here, despite the fact that it's already about 100 degrees outside, and my ass currently feels like bacon in a pan right now, so. Tomorrow is my fiance's birthday. My old lady is getting older, but I love her, so, you know. So happy birthday to her. I hope everyone, you know, if you can wish her a happy birthday, I'll make sure that she gets it, or at least reads it in the comments or something. I already have sweat running down my face. Something I've mentioned in the past is I've always been big into role-playing games, not just video games, but also a lot of the tabletop. And that's something I just wanted to mention, especially within the past couple days. I've gotten into a lot more role-playing online again. I used to do a lot of the role-playing chat rooms, things like that. And now I found actually a lot of people who do a lot of role-playing through Twitter and things like that. And thankfully within these past couple days, it's really improved, but at the same time, there's just some things that I don't know, I don't like to really criticize a whole lot of how other players do things. I mean, however they decide to play their character, that's their decision. There's a lot of original characters or non-canon characters. For the most part, it's Marvel and DC comic book characters, which is pretty cool, and I'm really interested, but I'm just seeing a lot of things taken too personally. So I guess the first thing that I want to mention is my first big rule of role-playing is keep in character, and out of character. There's nothing worse than playing a game, you play your character, be it the goody two-shoes, the religious fanatic, the sadistic asshole, it doesn't matter. But when you take that and you're playing that, and not all characters are going to agree with your character, not all characters are going to like your character, but once you draw the line and say, okay, I'm done for the day, you log out, you go home, or you go hang out, you should be able to disconnect from that character. Not only as, and I mean that in two senses. I mean that in a sense that you should be able to disconnect from character, as in what that character does shouldn't have to follow you into your real life. But also, you should be able to disconnect from that character and not mimic that character in a sense. I mean, be able to separate reality from fantasy is more so what I'm trying to say. And I'm just seeing a lot of people failing to do that, and unfortunately with an open forum like Twitter, when you're role-playing like that, there's a ton of people with the same character. There are like 5 Jokers for DC, 3 Peter Parkers, Spider-Man, a couple Supermans, and then each of them have their own variation. And you should feel free to have your own take on a character. You should have the right to put your own spin on it. But then there are people who are taking it too seriously. People who think that just because someone else creates a character and plays that character in a storyline doesn't mean that they're trying to do things like, maybe, let's say, that they're not trying to replace you. They're just someone playing a character for a story that someone's doing. That's all it is. There's no reason to take it personally. There's no reason to resort to name calling or anything of that sort while RPing, while role-playing. It's just unnecessary, and that bothers me. Another one of my pet peeves are the characters, or the role players who either don't really know their character, especially if you're playing a fan character, at least do some research. But, at least try and fall into a character. I mean, there are role players out there who range from extremely good to just getting started, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're doing one-liner posts, I mean, some writing skill is required for a lot of the online role-playing scenarios, and that's something that gets me. If you're gonna do it, put some effort into it. Put some oomph behind it. And my third thing, no Mary Sues. Mary Sue is just that character who cannot be beat. It's like the Power Rangers. When you turn on TV, the old Power Rangers, you watch Power Rangers and you knew they were never gonna lose. They were the perfect team. No matter what happened or what they threw at them, they won. So, it's that cut and paste, they're gonna win. And when you're faced up against that, why would you even bother? You're gonna lose, or at least by that person's standards, you're gonna lose. And it kills a lot of the fun. One of my big problems is like the Resident Evil series. A Mary Sue character, Alice, right there. She's making all the actual canon characters from the Resident Evil series, like Chris Redfield and, Jill Valentine, making them look like total noobs. I mean, Jill Valentine is supposed to be an incredible marksman, but in the movies she can't shoot for. And she's being portrayed as this terrible cop. Chris Redfield is stuck in a prison, But Alice has awesome telekinetic powers and is even more badass than Wesker, the main villain of the entire series. And he's supposed to be the only one who can really let this motorcycle go past. But he's the only one who really is the perfect hybrid with T-Virus. He's the only one who's able to really control it. And I could get going on an entire rant of things I don't like about the Resident Evil series, and I may do a review of them in the future, but that's not my point here. My point is, she's a Mary Sue character. She's always stronger, she's always better, and she can never lose. And that's part of my problem with her. And that's part of my problem with a lot of characters in role-playing, is when there's a problem, they're always coming back with something better. They always have to be better. And I'm sorry, good characters have flaws. The more flaws, the better the character. I mean, when I play World of Darkness has a rule that, or at least I tend to use a house rule, that you only get points for, or you only get rewarded for about 7 points in flaws. Now, if you know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't stress over it. You get flaws, you get more points to put in your character elsewhere to round them out. And while I only get 7 points maximum for my flaws, I'll still take about 11 points just because it's interesting. That makes the character more unique, more of a challenge, gives them more personality. I mean, when it comes to me in role-playing, I have about 90 plus cast of characters. I have a huge cast of characters. Some of them very strong characters, some of them very weak characters, some major, some minor. but they all come together and serve a purpose. And part of it is due to the fact that I used to be, I used to run games. So I had to have all my non-player characters. That's where a lot of that comes from. But I make sure that all of them have their flaws, all of them have their merits, and all of them have a spot. None of them are better than anyone else, per se, but they're not worse. They have a unique personality. They each have a backstory. And ultimately, when I play a game with them, they keep in character at all times. And my personal feelings about anyone or anything do not get in the way of that. And I have many examples of that. I have very religious characters for religions I don't agree with, or political views I don't agree with. Some of them are morally questionable and do things that I would never do. They're unique personalities, and I run them like that. And the other thing is, when I step away from the table, when I log out on, from the internet, from my RP, they stay there. They don't come with me. I don't RP a mass murder and then walk away saying, I should shoot somebody in the face. That'd be fun. That doesn't happen. These characters have their own unique opinions, but they do not rule my life, and they shouldn't rule anyone's life. And those are some of my pet peeves. I've gone on this huge rant at this point, but I find role-playing to be fun, and I find a lot of people either take it too seriously, or they don't put forth the effort to something that can be a lot of fun. Role-playing seems to be a dying art because in many cases it requires storytelling and writing as skills, as personal skills. And that's what can make it a really amazing place, as long as you have the imagination for it. But either way, I'm glad I got out that rant, and hopefully, hopefully I don't have to deal with too many more occurrences of anything like that. Anyways, once again, I'm AZ Sniper Fox. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. And once again, I had a sandwich.